Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Atlas. Unless you are new to the channel, then welcome. It is nice to have you guys here. Tonight we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. We're also going to be taking a look at Chainlink and also just a slight update on Orchid. If you guys are new to the channel, just so you know, we are on the road. We're trying to push towards our first 500 subscribers on this channel. We would love for you to be a part of this community. I always encourage people to drop comments down below, if not just addressed to me, but also so that the rest of the community can see any thoughts, feedback, questions that you guys have. If enough of you do requests on specific cryptocurrencies, I'd be happy to take a look and do video coverage on those in the future as well. So if you guys can, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and let's go ahead and get right into the news. So taking a look first off here, let's look at the charts over on Bitcoin. In my previous video from yesterday, if you guys want to go check that out, you can actually see that I have a little bit of a potential for an uptrend and a downtrend for Bitcoin and its price progression movement. We have seen over here the downwards trend off of a head and shoulders play, the bit of recovery that started to come back up, and we were testing right above that 21 EMA. So we're on a new daily chart now since it's past the 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's actually a new weekly as well. We'll go ahead and take a look at the weekly here in just a minute and see what happened with that. But looking at this, it did move into the pattern formation from the past, and where I had just kind of a little bit of potential movement. Remember, this is all speculative. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't predict the future. Nobody can predict the future with this stuff. But we look at the charts and looking at historical trends, we have potential movement up such as this. The fact that it's broken above the form of resistance now means that it is in a bullish position. The fact that it also had closed above the 21 EMA the previous day, I also believe that's another good bullish indication. This could be a potential fake out, and you could see a retracement back. The markets are getting ready to open up next week, and we've been seeing a lot of correlation between the S&P 500 as well as with that of Bitcoin. So we're going to take a look in another second here at the stock futures. Even though they had just opened up a little bit ago, we'll kind of see if there's anything of headway at the moment of the time of recording this video, which is 7:32 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if we do have a continuation movement up here, we could see it retesting, trying to push towards that top line around the 12,000, kind of $350-ish range is where we see a lot of resistance being formed at, but more predominantly at the $12,500 level. We want to see if we can break that, and then after we break that, then we're really looking to test that high of the $14,000 range. And if this does pull out to be a fake out and it retraces back, we're going to have that top of the wick here, which we see happen from time to time in moments. In fact, even when we had it back here, you saw that there was actually a further continuation down. Slight climb up and then a further continuation down. So potentially if this climbs higher and starts to retrace, we could even start to see the formation of another head and shoulders pattern. So just kind of keep that in mind. If it goes a little bit higher than this level here and then starts to retrace, pulls down, and it starts to come up again, and again another decline down, obviously then it's much more evident. But we're just speculating a little bit further into the future. Let's talk about the actual immediacy of what's going on right now. So right now it is up 1.32%. It's nearing that of $11,000. I can tell you guys that based on historical trends, when I've been watching this a lot over the last year, when Bitcoin is very close to one specific range, it's pretty much a guarantee that it's going to hit that range. And what I mean by that, like if it's close to the low ends for the 1,000 mark, then it's probably going to end up tapping that and potentially have a continuation down. If it's close to the next 1,000 mark, it's going to push up and continue on through that. So a lot of people are waiting right now and they're like, oh, it's about to hit $11,000. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Let me go and buy some now. And the more people that are trying to get in that FOMO before it actually hits $11,000 and potentially has that major parabolic run pushing up, breaking new all-time highs, all that kind of stuff, they want to make sure that they get an opportunity on that before it's too late. So we're very close. I think it is very likely that we're going to push into the $11,000 range very soon. So I am more bullish than bearish at the moment. You can even see that it looks like it is a slight wick just under $11,000, and it's really trying to fight itself off there. But it is potential. Probability-wise, my personal experience in this, it looks more likely that it's going to hit the $11,000 range than to not hit it. But we might tap above it and then have that pull down, especially if there's negative sentiment on the stock market moving in on Monday next week. If it does pull down further lower levels here, also with references to previous trends, we can see it potentially going back into this big rectangular space, which is a consolidated zone. Not only would it actually put it back into that symmetrical triangle and then see a bit of a delay off waiting for that major breakout of fully established. So we actually haven't established a daily candle above or below this symmetrical triangle pattern yet. We've only broken through it on the daily so far, but it is moving quite considerably up above. We'll just have to get it actually established, so we have a little bit more security and mindset of knowing that we've established a base and we can work off of that base and continue further on. Looking bullish right now. If it drops down even further down below, then we could see it potentially even retesting down to filling the CME gap, which a lot of people are still wondering if it's going to fill that. And that CME gap is right around $9,600 for the low end of the range. So aside from that, let's go ahead and look at some of the articles talking about Bitcoin, and then we're going to take a look at Orchid and Chainlink with their charts. Didn't really have any prevalent information news in regards to Chainlink for its change, but in regards to Bitcoin, there's now only 2.5 million Bitcoin left. So of the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be produced by the end going into 2140, right? The year 2140. All 21 million. Protocol says that the production rate, we've hit that block number. We don't need to reduce it down anymore. It's too minuscule. Let's go ahead and stop it here. So with that in mind, with where it started, 2009, production rate every 4 years, slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. Now there's only 2.5 million Bitcoin that's left. So do you guys own any Bitcoin? That's a big question, right? If you've been waiting to get into the game and you're watching a video like this, it's becoming harder and harder to get, because you have to realize something. Every 4 years, the amount that's being produced is going to decrease. So supply rate will go down more and more and more. If demand stayed exactly the same, okay? Demand stayed exactly the same and the supply rate continues to go down, then you're looking at all the formulas needed for it to really start to have a push up. Because with something like this, you are already seeing an increase in demand. It's essentially an inevitability, but anything could technically happen here. You take a look over at the chart right here. You can actually see that through the source chart time frame, this is where we are currently at. So that wave that's been pulling up, we're already about 3/4 of the way up to the actual top of hitting for that 21 million. Right around in that 21 million range. Just a little bit below it, you'll see it right here, the fifth halving. This is just showing it up to another 2 more halvings occurring. So we got about another 8 more years, and then we're pushing pretty darn close to that major region until it just very, very, very slow over the rest of the 100 or so years. Now, is it bullish or bearish from leading indicators based off of articles, other analysts, what they're saying? Well, they're very bullish right now. I mean, you can see, like we just looked at, Bitcoin is on the rise up as of the moment. But with the chart, they're saying that trader says 23 factors show a rally is due. First of all, there is funding. One of the best indicators to gauge market sentiment. After the drop from 12,000, it has been consistently negative or baseline at best. Secondly, we have the Contago Index. This shows the difference between the price of spot exchanges and derivative exchanges. When spot has higher prices, the indicator goes lower into the green zone. A consistent premium for spot exchanges is considered bullish. Is the market over leveraged? The 12,000 range was absolutely brutal. We had multiple days of more than $500 million in liquidations. After $1 billion of open interest got wiped out since the peak in the 12,000 range. So you take a look at the chart here. I know that Crypto Lark had posted something kind of similar, and he said that based on the little position that we're at, looking at it on comparison to the past trends, it's a leading indicator suggesting that we are now in a big bull market. The net MPL indicator. This shows that the market isn't overheated anymore. We recently had a reset. Red zones are great buy zones. When we look at the previous bull run in 2017, we can see that those small resets are turning points where momentum picks up again. So I find this very interesting to look at. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below with that. and taking a look over at Chainlink, because the previous day we did see some high gains, especially if you looked at the charts on, for example, Coinbase. And as far as some of the main gainers, this was what I, at the time of this video, was seen as the highest gainer for the day. Wasn't any real prevalent information news that I could find. If there's anything that you guys can think of, then feel free to let me know down below. But a lot of people have just been expecting this to start to climb back up again because it has a lot of use cases and it's in high demand, and it's also very popular. So all those combined is a good formula towards success. We saw previous highs of this hitting up into the $20,000 range. Right now, if you got in, you're looking at a little bit less than 50% of the change. As of the daily, it's just slightly down 0.15%, 0.22%. Very, very, very subtle. The actual previous day, though, we did have a little bit of a climb up. Technically, this is below the 21 EMA, and the RSI is in a bit of a consolidated median space here over the last several days since September 25th. And it had a bit of a climb up here. You can also see on the MACD a bit of a reversal starting to take place, a little bit of a climb up, and we can more than likely see this actually having a continuation up rather than being bearish. So as it is very, very close to tapping, and it's actually tested it several times but retraced. So if it breaks through this again, that 21 EMA, I would look at that much more as a form of support right now rather than a resistance. Technically, because at the time of this video, we're below, we got to try and break above that, but we're in a median consolidated space with the RSI, and a lot of people are going to want it to try and push back up into this higher $20 price region where it has been before. The technical chart here is actually suggestive on the sell side. Largely in part, we had a big dump that took place over here, about 5 different instances, dating back to September 13th, September 15th, September 18th, major one on September 21st, and September 23rd. So I personally, I'm looking at this and I'm a bit more bullish. Let me know if you guys disagree with me. At the immediacy right now, just its current standing, bearish. I have to wait till it gets across that 21 EMA. I really like the 21 EMA. The RSI, the fact that it's not overbought or oversold. The MACD has shown a little bit of a reversal pattern. So that's why I'm leaning more towards bullish on it and its actual position. This could be a good opportunity to buy in for something like this. If you set up your stop loss just a little bit lower here, you can see on base levels for the last 2 days at least, it's been pushing itself right around the $10 region. So if you want a little bit of security, maybe potentially setting a stop loss that's slightly higher than that, and take your losses if it's just minimal. Could be another buy opportunity if you want to wait the game, but you could miss the boat on this stuff. If it breaks above what looks to be right around the 1105 region, then there's a good chance it could have a further continuation up into the actual space. And we saw a little bit of some consolidated zone over here starting right around the $12.07, $12.10 kind of region. So that might be another space for it to fight against right now as a form of resistance. And again, if it breaks against that, then that could set up another level of support. But I would really be eyeballing for the high right now and just kind of seeing how things go right around $12.10 or so for that. And now let's go ahead and take a look at Orchid and what's been going on over there. Previously, as we've talked about, this big green box that you see is a large consolidated space. It's been happening previously, and as of the last 4 days, we're kind of in a new starting to form base zone of consolidation. I want to give it more time to see if it's actually flatlining out a little bit like that. We have a long historical trend of Orchid just moving sideways and then this major rally push up. Unfortunately, Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies all started to pull back, and we saw a lot of that happen with this, and then also with the launch on Binance. Again, Bitcoin had a hard day there, so that even hurt. And then the release with Binance US, again, it wasn't really that great a time for Bitcoin itself. So this project, as it is, it's still below the 21 EMA, and because of that, I'm still leaning in the immediacy for this as bearish. If it breaks above, leads me to be a little bit more bullish. I wouldn't say necessarily all the time that if it breaks above 21 EMA that I'm bullish, but for these projects right now, yeah, I'm looking at it as more of a bullish position. If it can break above this, then I think it has the further potential to have a continuation up to around 37 cents. Some things that I want to go ahead and talk about real quick with this that does raise a little bit of concern for me. I was reading on Twitter, and I'm hoping that if any of you guys are really heavy into Orchid and you know more about this, maybe you can confirm or deny this. But from what it sounds like to me, a large reason why we're seeing these big price drops is not because the project itself is bad, but supposedly it's because of the people that were getting in early into the project. They were able to buy Orchid at an extremely small price. And somebody was saying something like if you spent $1,300 or $1,500 back in the very, very beginning phase of this project, that would equate to like $23 million or $35 million right now, something like that. It might be $35 million. So a lot of people are just looking to dump what they have already gained so that they can make those big profit gains right now, and that just kind of keeps pushing the market back down. There's still a whole bunch more that needs to be released into circulation as well. So we have a total supply of 1 billion, and we are only a couple 100 million into the actual circulating supply. So I said we're going to take a look at the stock futures. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. Stock futures slightly up on the positive, 0.35, 0.36, 0.42 as of this time, about 7:46 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This could totally reverse throughout the course of the night. I've seen it happen, so don't look at this as the time of this video and take it for that exact point in time. But if anything, maybe this could be a good little clue. If you're watching this hours later, if you're watching this tomorrow morning before the market's open, you kind of get an idea where it was at. And so if this goes from being positive 0.35 across the board, at least, right, and it's in the negative, that's a bit of a transitional movement, and I'd be curious what kind of things are getting ready to be said or have happened or came out that kind of suggests that maybe it's about to push even further down, because these could be fake outs for a lot of people. You know, if you're looking to get in on something like this, possibly some investors, what they do, they go before they go to bed, they look at this and they say, oh, the S&P looks like it's going to open up on the positive, right? And what do? They go and put their pre-orders in and contribute to something like this, thinking that it's going to be easy gains, because the market hasn't technically opened yet. And then what happens is the market opens and everybody's selling off, and then people start shorting and people get wrecked, you know? So always be cautious with this. Actually, based on historical trends, what I've been noticing a lot, and I've heard other people talk about this too, on a Sunday close going into a Monday for the stock market with stock futures, it tends to be the reverse of what you see happen on the stock futures. So like, for example, if it's positive right now on a Sunday evening, on Monday, a lot of times it's shown the stock market actually will go down, and vice versa. So if it starts to show negative for a Sunday evening, when the stock market opens on a Monday, it actually starts to boom and go and do well. But we're just talking about technical analysis. So this is all based about percentages, historical trends. It's not saying like this is guaranteed to happen, right? But yeah, so I'm actually looking at the moment like this based on historical trend. This suggests to me there's a probability a little bit higher that the stock market is going to start to crash further down. We'll kind of see as the night goes on and as we get closer with things. This week is a big test for the IPO market. As you can see, as their header, investors have shown rabid enthusiasm for new stocks this September. That's forced some strategists to wonder, is this a repeat of the frenzy that led up to the dot-com crash at the turn of the millennium? Be cautious, guys. Take care of yourselves. Again, if you guys are new to the channel and you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode.